I feel like Scarlet dies a lot of the time to like early game adapts. Dies a lot of the time to early game Terran stuff. She just falls super behind off the early game. For me, that's where Scarlet's a very hit and miss player. I feel like if her early game is on point, she can do great, but so often she just dies or gets very behind early. I think, I won't speak for Micro, but I feel like her defense stat being a bit lower does somewhat fit with a lot of what happens with Scarlet. What happened to the textures on this map? Holy crap. Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? Like, these are just very generic stats. Late game, Scarlet, defensively, I think you probably could put up some points, but I think the early game defenses have been a little bit lackluster as of late. We're going to be seeing the hatchery going down out the front as we get ourselves a Proby strolling along in the natural. Are we really going to have the Hexagon argument again? So I'll tell you right now, basically. The Hexagons are just decided by people who look at it and say, oh, I think they are this and they are that, and they edit it throughout the season. But the thing that, well, for me, will forever mean that these Hexagons actually do have some meaning is that when they first brought the Hexagons in, I tried to guess what I would give people based on the numbers, and it was always very accurate based on what other people had, right? And so, like, it was very accurate what I guessed versus what they actually had. And from then on, I've always been a fan of the Hexagons because, like, it's not meant to be, like, an exact, like, oh, yeah, Scarlet can only ever defend as a 7, right? Like, she can't defend the attacks of a 9 attacker. StarCraft doesn't work like that. It does, I think, tell you a little bit about their sort of styles and stuff. And lately, Scarlet has been a bit more of an aggressive player, right? Like, she's not been a sit back and defend, play the late game kind of style player. She's not played like that for a while. She's been playing much more aggressively on the map, run-bys and stuff. So, I will always defend, for now, at least I will defend these Hexagons, because A, don't take them for, like, granted, and, like, you know, they are the gospel of StarCraft 2 or whatever, but, like, I do genuinely believe that they're actually, I do believe they're at least good to get, like, a bit of an insight, being like, oh, this person might be a bit more aggressive, or watch out for his micro, something like that, you know? I think they're good for, like, a general feel more than anything else. Apparently Scarlet's in Korea, so I don't think she's going to try for TSLU. Let's just got a couple Lings sneaking by into the main base, and the robotics facility going down in the main. One Ling going to go nibbling away there in the probes. Oh, we do lose one probe, unfortunately. Scarlet played okay at DreamHack. She played sick against Hero. That Hero series was really cool, especially that first game was sick. She was all over the place. I thought ZvP was great. I was surprised she got knocked out by Creator, but Creator can step it up a lot lately as well. I imagine Scarlet will probably play the NA server qualifier for TSL. I'd be surprised if she tried to play Europe from Korea. Bad time, horrible lag. She might though. She's upset she beat Harassment 3-2. You know, the only sad part, I was sad for that, but I was only sad because Game 5 was such a just like, roaches walk across the map and the game ends. I know it's like a cool strategic play and all that, but it's like, man, it was such a cool, great, awesome series. It's so sad that I just died in just such like a short moment, right? So yeah, I was kind of sad about that. A little extra depth, just moving through to the front. There's that Prism. Just going to be coming along, a lot of these adepts joining up together. And the Prism getting set to warp on in a little bit. Waves coming through, plenty of roaches on the way out from Scarlet here as you see Prince can try and get aggressive at the front with these adepts shading on through. Let's see what Scarlet's defense is like. So far just has units in position, so is able to hold on to that pretty decently. For the moment at least. And you ferry these adepts up into this high ground, and Scarlet's already pretty set to deal with it. I mean, she has a vision of it all happening, right? So she's putting herself in a good place to defend, and Well, they commit over here. It's going to be good against the Lings, but the Roach count was also reasonable here, so the Roaches do a fair amount of damage to the Adepts. Can we chase down a couple final kills? We shade over here now. There's actually a decent amount of Queens here that are slowly getting their way through the Adepts as well, and only 2 drones lost overall. I'd say that this is actually working pretty nicely for Scarlet, who as soon as she's held this can just drone up comfortably. She's got that base already, up over the opponent, as Prince only just now getting the 3rd base started. So yeah, I'd say that Scarlet, as she holds this, is going to be feeling pretty okay, as long as you haven't lost a chunk of drones. Still got to be careful with a good amount of Adepts still on the map. You've just got to be cautious, because it's very possible that with that amount of Adepts still on the map, that you can run into trouble again, so definitely something to be watching out for. Which is Queens pushing through. If your Adepts just going to shade on by. Yeah, on top of these few drones, 6, 7 drones going down immediately, and we're just going to recall those drones straight out of there, so those Adepts straight out of there. So that's what I mean, that's why you've got to be careful. Just because you held the first wave of this doesn't mean that it's held. Those Adepts on the map can still be dangerous, and that's just where Scarlet has to make sure defenses are still tight. Otherwise, you can absolutely run into some problems. Prism actually took a bit of a beating there as well, so has to back away for the moment. Just gonna go and clean up some creep spread. Lang's gonna nibble through the rocks just a little bit, try and get some damage done. Let's try and open up the map a little bit if you can. Generally, more avenues of attack are better for the Zerg, so Scarlet can do that. Then brilliant, as we do set up into that next stage. So we're heading into Banes, Roaches. And we'll see how aggressive Scarlet will be. There's obviously that potential to be, like, very aggressive off of this. And just, like, go all out and just attack, attack, attack. Never, I mean, you can hit 80 drones and then just rebuild, but you're still going to be stuck on low-tier tech. Or does she have some inclination of going towards, like, hive tech and so on? I think against what she's up against, I think she's just going to spam units. I think that's the right choice. It'd be interesting if there's anything that changes on the other side. Maybe make that go the other way. See if, Prince does something different here at some point. Pushing through, Lings are just Ravage going around. Sentry gets picked up. All of these Adepts continue to go down as the Lings continue to chase in. Roaches and Ravages getting a bit of a surround there, and those Stalkers getting pushed all the way out through the middle of the map. It's getting chased all the way out to that right side as the Stalkers come back up around the top. We are able to pick off an extra Ravager there. So Prince at least finding a little bit of value with these few units. See if he can continue to find more. Your team is, excuse me, still edging forwards. Got the Prism, lifting up a couple of these Stalkers. Just gonna have the Lings getting chipped away at as well. Extra Stalkers will continue to warp on in, and Prince is going to come back around his left side. Just Stalkers, Stalkers, Stalkers. Making Scarlet work for this right now as Scarlet just continue to crank out Lings and even starting to work towards some melee upgrades. These Stalkers do get pushed back this time, taking some hits as well. Definitely adding up a little bit. Which the Ravage is going to start chasing through the center now, and those Stalkers are going to try and fight again. We've seen Scarlet on the hunt. The Stalkers have to escape out the far right-hand side. Run, run, run. Get out of there. Couple corrosive bars coming down too. As 14 probes have fallen, by the way, so Scarlet actually with a drop load on the top side. Able to get some Banelings into a mineral line and dealing good damage, and Prince is just kind of being shredded on all sides at the moment. It feels like not making progress with his Stalkers. Yeah. The queen there with the lings underneath, going to continue to give some chase. Still going depth there, getting rid of a few more lings, ravages, roaches, banes, all going through around this top side. And blink the stalkers back already. The banes are going to try and just go through the front. And that seems a little bit ludicrous. We could bust down the cybercore, I suppose, and if you bust down the cybercore, then no more stalker production. That battery finally depowered and killed off. Does Scarlet have enough to stand here and fight? She is going to look to cancel that full ogre on 4th base, which would be a great start at least. She's got the Ravagers to keep zoning these units back. The Disruptor, yeah, a little bit too late to the party. It's a little bit too slow to really come in and make a difference, as the Ultra Cavern is going to start up on the back of the Natural, and a Dropper Lord coming in with a few extra Banes. All that's still being brought into play. Well, I'm just going to get extra Banes going and running across that right-hand side. Got these few Banes on the top, ready to maybe go for that mineral line yet again. It's just keeping that pressure up. This base is untouchable otherwise, so it's just a good way to say, well, if you're not going to put any attention to protecting that base, I'm going to at least do something about it, right? Good split there. That was only one Ravager that died. That's a much better Disruptor shot, as this attack has not been as good for Scarlet at all. This has been much more headbutting into a disaster. Only 9 probes in that backward base this time around as well, so yeah, a moment or two that actually wasn't quite as successful this time. And Prince is immediately on the counter-attack. Scarlet Kindness plane on the way, so continuing to improve up into that Ultra army. He's still making his way through for the moment, as we've got Stalkers, Scarlets, Disruptors pressing in. It's going to be a nice little Disruptor shot. Can this be enough from Prince to clean this game up? That one fight from Scarlet on that 4th base the second time around was maybe a bit too much. Let's see. A lot of the Disruptors have now fired. This is Scarlet's chance to just fight purely against Stalkers. That should be where her best success comes from. She really could do with extra lings, and boy, the +2 melee would be great as well right now, but just isn't there yet, as Scarlet seemingly in too much trouble. She's got Ultras on the way. The problem is with Ultras against this amount of units is I think they're going to get overwhelmed. They're just going to get shot back, shot down, kited back by Stalkers. I don't think that's going to go very well at all here, as Stalkers have been a huge source of damage this game from Prince. And yeah, Banes have been pretty destructive from Scarlet as well, as we continue to push on forward here, looking to try maybe close this out. Prince does not want to give Scarlet room to rebuild. We've got Vipers that are showing up to abduct the Disruptors. That's nice, because it stops the Disruptor shots too much. Prince just shot at his own Stalkers with the Disruptor. I'm not sure what happened there. That was an interesting moment. I think on the Ultras, but like I say, they're just not going to do much in low numbers on their own. It's a nice Blinding Cloud to keep that Ultra alive a bit longer, and now the Lings are actually going to come through and maybe make a difference. Getting rid of those last Disruptors finally making a difference, and I don't even know if this was really the Ultras. I feel like the Ultras were kind of going to do whatever, but just having the Lings finally being able to properly connect, and maybe just getting rid of the Disruptors so the Lings could be there more effectively, maybe that is what makes the difference. Some Ultras still setting up some Banes. Moving on the top side watchtower as well. Prince was honestly very close to winning this though. You know, the Stalker mass was really there. He was definitely overrunning. Just couldn't quite get the finishing touches to it all. As Lings and Ultras are going to go chasing forward again. These Stalkers are going to get pushed away to the right hand side. Both Nexus trying to rebuild, at least from Prince, but that's about it for the moment. It's not looking too great for our Korean Protoss from GP. Here in map number 1 of our second series of the day in the World Team League. Today's going to be quite an epic World Team League day at this rate. To be quite honest, it's getting a bit wild, isn't it? Absolutely. Stalker's trying to find attacks. Love the gold base down that bottom side. now these Stalkers just aren't standing up for themselves, and Archon's trying to morph in, not going to do well. Those Lings getting the extra upgrades, really making a difference in how quickly they can shred things as well. Jungle bomb combo. He's not going to get the kill with the recall, right? Huh. GG. I don't know the Prism dying was like really like game ending, but I actually didn't know. I thought when you recalled the starting so quick. Scarlet in the bottom right, up 1-0 for the Rebellion. Prince is the top left from ZvP. Let's see if he can tie this up on his map pick. Picks Moondance. Backward base in base is obviously kind of nice for the third. It doesn't have full gas, but with a lot of the styles, 5 gas is fine, so it's definitely an option for you. And if not for your third, maybe just a quick fourth base, get some extra mineral mining set up quite freely compared to what might usually be the case, so. So yeah, sign up for that for now. Doesn't Twitch get half sub money? Kind of depends on what your deal is with Twitch. But yes, the baseline deal is usually 50%. But subs are... While Twitch does take the money, subs are oftentimes a bit stronger than... one of the strongest ways to support, because obviously if you tier 1 sub, it's recurring. It's something you can do monthly, so it's not just like a one-off something. It's like, it creates like a baseline kind of income rather than just being like, oh, this guy donated $100 this month, that's cool. A sub is more reliable because it's a smaller amount that a lot of people commit, right? And honestly, subs get the most benefits out of anyone, because when you sub, you get emotes, you get the little icon, you know, it makes it feel very community-esque, right? So, yeah, even if Twitch takes some of the percentage, I'd almost always say subscribing is, especially if you're gonna like, if it's like a choice between donating $5 or subscribing, I would almost always say subscribe. I think it's, I don't know, I feel like the bonuses from subbing and just the growth it gives you on the stream goes a long way, to be honest. Thanks for gassing, no worries, just doing what I can, like I say. So far, again, touching wood, because I don't want to jinx myself, but so far we've been holding up pretty okay today. So we might be able to get through all the matches. Fingers crossed, we will see. But we are only one in. Would I earn more from a donation? If you subscribe every month and you donate $5 every month, then yes, I would make more from the donation. But unless you pay the transaction fee, it's not like the donation is directly into my bank account either, right? Like, you know, because if you donate via PayPal, usually it's like, if you donate $5, I usually get like $4.32 of it or something, right? Which then when you compare it to my sub rate, it's really not even that different, so. Yes, in theory I do make more if you donate versus sub, but I prefer subs, honestly, personally. Like I say, it's nice to see the sub count go up, it's something you can get the community to rally behind and so on, so. But at the end of the day, it's always your choice, so you guys can decide. Nice Weasel, Alan, thank you so much for the Prime sub, mate, I appreciate it. Thanks for the generosity today. Really do appreciate it as we just get our early game PvZ here moving along. I'll just say this now because I feel like I'm not going to have enough YouTube content if I end up going to Home Story Cups, so this will probably end up on YouTube even though I've not really been casting it super seriously. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm sorry. There's been a lot of like chitter chatter and not fully about the game, but I just don't have enough content because I'm not being able to cast properly, so apologies. Anyways. Yo, Incubus, thank you so much for the 19-month resub as well, mate. I appreciate it. 4 drones going down. This Prince gets some harassment off, and he's building the Void Ray. Let's see. He's gonna drop a Twilight Council behind this. You like to donate, but not just for the margin, but for Jeff. You appreciate that perspective. Honestly, do as you wish. I mean, if you want, if you prefer donating, if you'd rather your money come through the Stream Elements site than Twitch, you do that. Like, honestly, like, I would never tell someone like, you know, it's not like I'm like, it's not like when someone donates $5, I'm like, damn it, I wish you were subbed. You know, just like I say, subs are something which are easy to quantify and be like, yo guys, we're gonna push 1,000 subs this month, and then you know you can get the community behind it. It feels easy to do that than be like, hey guys, we're gonna push $20 donations a day, let's go, or something. You know what I mean? So yeah, like I say, do as you wish. At the end of the day, any support is appreciated. As we do have, let's really talk about this game, I suppose, because Void Ray is just going to come zapping. The Twilight was for charge straight away, so into charge, I'm going to take the backward base here as well. Don't think that's too surprising, especially when you pick this map, it almost feels like you're definitely looking to play around that backward base. And it just feels as though we're just going to be getting some Zealot Archon out of Prince. And Scarlet will be finishing up a melee upgrade, about to have her Rotron as well, so we'll have those choices available to her now. And looking from Scarlet to be very similar to the last game in terms of what she's going to produce. We'll see if she tries to do the Baneling drops again. I thought that was really cool, but also very much so kind of based around the last map, having that in-base expansion, which you can't do much to apart from Baneling drops. So this game you may not need to make that. Well, actually, I mean, I guess you kind of do this once again, in-base expansion, right? So maybe you do make that Baneling drop investment once more, and you kind of just go from there. Kind of cool. Archon's putting some damage out. There's a couple of drones going down as Zealot's about to have the charge. So here comes the first major attack of Prince into this main. See if these Archons can do transfusion, keeping that Queen alive just that moment longer. Scarlet doesn't have the Banes to help deal with this yet, but Bane Nest is coming. Yeah, this was pretty comfortable, losing a few units, but able to get rid of all the Zealots, push the Archons back. I'd say that that's a pretty comfortable defense from Scarlet. She does that without too many issues at all, and should be feeling pretty okay about it. Losing a few more drones now, though, and that does start to get a little bit expensive, but that's the thing with an Archon drop. They pretty much always kind of look like this, right? They're always going to find a bit of something here and a bit of something there, because that's just how the Archon drops work. Now, what I'm surprised about is that Scarlet hasn't been drawn in behind this, because usually when them first start getting cleaned up, she probably could have realized, hey, there's just going to be the Archons now. All I have to do from here on out is just go, 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 and produce as many drones as possible, while my roaches deal with these Archons. This is again getting complicated here as the Archons actually get rid of a few more drones. I was going to say the Queens want to get here, deal with this Prism and the Void Ray, and they will get the Void Ray kill out of this. Void Ray just a little bit too slow to back away from that, and that will be game on the Void Ray. Goodbye and see you later. Those outwarpins. I think it's tough because the Prism has to stop and siege, and then the Archon's a little bit more exposed. I think Scarlet would have been okay against a few Zealots, and it wasn't like he was on a ton of gateways by that point either. It's not like he had like 10 gates ready to just crank out Zealots, right? If he had like 10 gates and he got a Zealot warp in, sure, but I think he only had like 2 or 3. Now he's going to have a lot of gateways, as he takes a 4th base in the front as well, and has kept the attention on Scarlet's side of the map, so Scarlet's not being able to do anything about that. But here comes the Spire from Scarlet, so she will have Mutalisks now pouring into the game, and that of course can pretty much always change the way that things are going. Well, against the Mutas, it is mostly just Archons. There's no Blink in this game, right? So the Mutas have a lot of potential. Let's see what they can do as we line up over here. Zealot's going to start moving forward. Archons as well. He's looking to come around the top side as Archons, Immortals, Zealots ready to fight. I mean, the good news, at least for Prince, is he's taking a straight up fight. That's not exactly what you want the Mutas for. And that's a lot of Archons, so he's hitting at the exact right time. Right side base of Scarlet goes down. She just needs more units. obviously you kind of want to use the mutas here because they're already here, but then it's like, well, maybe they should have just gone across the map to do some damage by now. And they do end up doing that anyways. So Scarlet, unfortunately, didn't quite make the right call immediately on that. These Banes are not finishing, which means the Zealots are surviving onto the Roaches. And that front line is going to be difficult to bust. And it's mostly just Roaches in production, which is going to be very tough to make work against Archon Immortal. And that's why Prince is able to get the W here in game number 2, tying us up 1-1.